welcome to our first podcast, February 10th, 2024. I am so excited to be here with these two.
Well, the other night we were having a discussion, and then when we got done, we're like, that would be, actually it was your idea, it would be a great podcast, what we discussed, so we'd like to start with that.
Okay.
Yes.
With some input from Stefan, of course.
So we have had this, especially Ken and I have had this discussion many times about regrets from the past or not regrets. Would you do it over the same way again? And we've gone back and forth on this, and we had a good conversation about it the other night, and that's what led to this.
Well, and here's what I'm excited about as well. So this is just one little conversation, but the reason we're really truly here is because we really believe that there's lots of people out there, and the thing is there's billionaires out there that have all this advice for people, and you have to arrive before you have a podcast, and we're average guys, and that's what makes us unaverage and unequal is our relationship with God. And so we're bringing that to the table along with a lot of life experiences that we've all had, and we've had some crazy experiences in our lives.
My side of it is like, I believe that because of my past, I had a dark past, alcoholism, drugs, and more even than that. But because of that and because of the pain I went through, I reached and cried out to God. And that is what started my relationship with God. And Stefan, on the other hand, thinks that if I would have been born and been into a family that was normal and had more of a normal life, I might be higher up on the spiritual ladder or closer to God. Do you want to say something?
Well, I would say you are where you are today, not because of drugs, sex, and rock and roll, but in spite of it. I would say that we don't get better because we do bad things in the past. We have experiences, because then, like I said last time, Ken got me to think, and I thought, well, maybe I haven't done enough bad experiences. Maybe I need to do some more crime and drugs and things, and maybe then I would be a more righteous person today. So maybe that's the path I need to take now at 62.
Romans 8:28, and we know in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. I believe God can take bad situations and make them good. And let's say I lived a more normal, flatline life. Would I have ever, through that type of living, cried out through that? I wouldn't know anything.
I think that's huge, the key.
Okay, I think living in regret is one thing, because if you live in regret, you're living in unforgiveness of yourself, and you're not accepting God's forgiveness of you and the things that was wrong that we did in life. So that's one thing. But evaluating your life and saying, oh yeah, I think I should have done that thing differently, that would have taken me a different place. I think I should have actually gone and gotten that education instead of going on an opium journey with John and
here we are again, back to the same place.
Let me make the point. So what would the different outcomes? I can see that this intersection, I got an education here, well, good. And here I went to China and smoked opium, which I didn't, but just as a point. Right. I think they have different consequences, different outcomes. So
I hear what you're saying, but how much time do you want to spend back there? I mean, we're here. And
I'm not back there, because I've reconciled with my past. I know what I did wrong, but I don't condemn myself anymore.
Right. And so we are moving forward. So we don't want to spend, what we're saying is we don't want to spend all our time back there in the opium days when we should have done something else, even though we
but that was the topic that you wanted to bring out.
But the topic is
because that keeps coming up with you about me having regrets, and I'm saying, no, I don't. And so that's why this whole thing got started.
Yes, but the question could be asked, would you do things differently? That doesn't mean that you have regrets.
Right, but we would intend to do them differently with the mind we have now. But would with the mind we have now. But would with the mind we have have that mind if we went back. We might be starting from
with a different
an
outcome.
infant with a whole different, complete outcome. And so it's like that's not even a possibility, really.
Yeah, but also,
I mean, are you saying
also
going
saying-
back? Are you saying going back with the mind we have now and the maturity we have now and the age we are now, but we go back to a child? I mean,
No, I'm saying...
sounds like
I'm
Back
s-
to the Future.
I'm saying that the flux capacitor needs to be maintained.
Yeah, I think we're done with the flux capacitor.
I think that that if we go back and we say, well, if I didn't go through this, I couldn't reach these people. Well, no, but you could reach other people if you had the mindset of wanting to help somebody and learn and be of service to mankind. Then, whatever you went through, whatever your story is, you will reach one group or another. And so that doesn't mean that, then I lose out on the experiences of that.
You're just saying if we would have followed more godly principles from the beginning, that
Yes.
our life we might have had a much better outcome, and we might be driving
Ferraris
instead
BMWs.
of a pickup.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I mean,
the Ferraris-
are we talking like on a spiritual level? Are we talking about a success level? I mean, what material level? I mean, what are we defining as success?
Success is to be whole, have a soul that's whole.
Your
And
relationship
also-
with God is what you're saying.
Yes, and basically we know that the handbook of life that we try to live by is the Bible. And many things was done that took us off that route. And also Ferraris, I mean, when you go to the mall, where are you going to park? I mean, they're very unpractical. You have to park like a mile away and walk so you don't get door dings.
I get
And
it.
they're very small.
I don't totally disagree with you, but I don't believe I would have had the experiences I've had with God without going through what I went through.
Yeah,
For
maybe
me.
maybe you would have had better experiences.
No, I don't.
No,
I don't
you
think-
know this.
No, you don't know this.
No, I don't know this, but I know
Neither
that
one
it's
of us know
impossible
this.
to
We
make
don't
a
know
statement
this.
like that.
We don't-
because
neither
you say,
one of us knows
this is
this.
maximum best.
I love these heated
This
arguments.
is the maximum best I could have lived
It's irrelevant
in my life.
It's our circumstances that we grow up under. We're just born into it. So it's like a lot of times you're just kind of thrown into it, right? You didn't have a choice of where you were going to be born or who your parents were,
Right.
right? So I mean,
Yeah, for me, I had to rely on something greater than myself to restore me to sanity. It's an AA statement, but it was like I couldn't quit on my own, so I relied on God, which I didn't have a relationship with. And when I did quit for a period of time, it was like I started seeing God's work in my life. And for me, I just don't believe that if I would have lived a more mundane life without all the drama and troubles, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, personally.
But I think that's impossible to say because why do we need a baseball bat to the head in order to change? There are other ways we can change. And I grew up in a home that was filled with love. My parents were married until my mother died, and having parents that are married and do not divorce is a great, great gift. And even with that, I came to a point in my life where I realized, wow, I have a lot of stuff that I have carried around. But I've also been married before, and there's many, many things I would do differently as a father, as a husband, in my life, if I had an opportunity to do it over. Not that I'm not happy where I am now,
Yes.
but I
So-
look back and
And we've discussed this before. So I think this whole conversation started out with, do you have any regrets? And honestly, I don't. I wouldn't change anything. And Stefan disagrees. Do you agree that you disagree?
I totally disagree.
So I want to read something.
But so the question is, if you could go back and do it over again, would you do the same thing again?
I am very content in my life the way it is, the way it worked out. I don't want to go back.
Yes,
do
but
it.
you didn't answer my question. If you could go
I
back,
wouldn't.
you stand there.
If I started all over again, I don't know what it would be like because I wouldn't be coming from the place I'm at now. It would just start from the beginning again. And
yeah, I mean, a lot of times.
How can you? I mean, we're not God. We don't know God's plan. It's like we can't say that if we did that, we would do it all different again. We don't We don't know what we would do.
A lot of times I've had this theory of if we had to, redo things all over again or replay things all over again, I mean, would they not turn out the same way? I mean, it's like, how do you go back and reverse everything? The thing that I think that I'm troubled with more than anything is, it's like, yeah, if I went to redo everything over again, it's like
you'd have totally different outcomes.
Well, you may have totally different outcomes, but also, I think the regrets that maybe I would have are basically all the people that I hurt. The pain that I caused others.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
A lot of things that I've done in my life, definitely I have regrets, but I also had consequences, right? So with regret or things that you do regret, you've had either positive consequences or negative consequences.
Yeah, and the positive, wouldn't you
right?
say the positive outweigh the negative? I mean, of course, we don't want to hurt people. Can I read something really quick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Regret. I was thinking about the word the other day. It's one of the things I do, thinking of words, kind of my thing. Regret. Regret is an ancient word for weep or wail. The prefix "re" is borrowed from Latin words. It can mean do again and again, like repeat, and it can mean go backward, like retreat. And then in Scripture, godly grief produces a repentance that leads to salvation without regret, whereas worldly grief produces death. Corinthians 7:10.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and
so that's kind of where I'm coming from. And yes, I don't want, I feel my parents went through a lot, and I went through a lot. And yes, I feel bad about that, but at the same time, I wouldn't. I'm not trying to say this against them, but I wouldn't change what happened in the past to have what I have today.
And I have one thing too that I think is really that I've thought about a lot and contemplated is, if I had not gone through a lot of the things that I've gone through and made a lot of the foolish, stupid mistakes of things that I've done in my past, then I wouldn't be able to speak into somebody else's life that might be facing the same thing, the same problem, and then say, hey, I went through that, and this is what I did to overcome it.
Being a sober person in Christ, it's like I have a key for somebody that's struggling with alcoholism. I can say, I know what helped me, maybe I can help you. I feel my relationship with him, I would not have the relationship. Of course, it could be different. It always could be different.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have that without the past that I had, and without reaching out to him, asking for help, because I don't feel like I did a lot of that on my own resources.
All right, so we can go in circles here.
Yeah, but I think
being righteous and obeying God is good.
Yes, it is.
And I
good.
think obeying God produces good results.
It does.
Disobeying God, like we all have done, has produced some results that.
But I believe God
better.
allows us
Of
to
course
disobey Him, to feel the pain of what it's like to be out there in the wilderness.
But I can't help but think of the commonality, right? The commonality that we all share is that we're born. But I can't help but think of the commonality, right?
Sure.
We're born devoid of a relationship with God. So if our parents aren't teaching us about God as we're growing up, and all the things that we are entering into from birth, right? And then we go off on all these tangents in all these different areas. Yeah. I mean, who's to say if someone pushed a button and said, okay, we're going to push the button, right? And we're going to just see if the chaos theory is correct. And Ken gets to go back and start his life over. And we get the same parents, the same
we should
town,
do a movie.
the same the same situation. Would we do
happens.
the same thing all over again?
It would be a whole different. We wouldn't know the outcome.
Yeah, we would not know the outcome
because we don't know.
And so that's what I always go back to. It's like, okay, the commonality that everybody shares is we're all devoid of any kind of knowledge of God, other than we learn it. We learn these things from the culture, from the experiences, from the things, and as our mind develops and as we take these things in, then we begin to make choices. And some aren't so good. And I think back, okay, did I make bad choices? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
you can find my name at the top
bad
of the
choices.
list. So, anyway.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
So bad choices produces bad results.
Oh, and wait till you guys hear. I can't wait for you guys to stay tuned for the future podcast when we get in depth of some of these things that we've all done and gone through.
I would say this. I saw a license plate or a bumper sticker one time, and it said, "Don't believe everything you think." And that's what I would say, because sometimes our thoughts are so influenced by stuff around us, and they go around in a circle, and you can sit there for 20 minutes and realize, well, why am I going this way? So I encourage you to focus on things that are positive, focus on things that are good, and it's a good time to be alive, I think.
The best
even though
time
it's
to be
crazy.
alive. It is actually the
We are
best
here
time
for a
to be
purpose.
alive.
Hey,
Yes.
now that you mention that, it's really
Yep.
good that you brought that up. But what's the standard that you'd like to share that we all come
Well,
back to,
I would
that we
say
base
this.
our life off of? And you said thinking. Don't ever, so if we have a bad thought or if we have bad thinking, so what standard should we be using?
Well, we should strive to renew our minds, and I think that we have mindsets and response patterns that we have developed over life, and evaluate those, think about those, and also how do we interact in the outside world? Are we loving to people? Are we accepting to people? Like when COVID came around, it was difficult because there were so many strong opinions and so many different behaviors that was crazy. And so when push comes to shove and we are challenged, how do we respond? How do we, my father used to ask at the end of the day, he would say, have you influenced anybody today? And I think that's a good question.
That's great, Stefan. What about you? What do you?
What comes to my mind is just healing, and so like our relationship with God, like I feel healthier now than I did 30 years ago, and there's things places we've gone and people that we've known that have we've gotten a lot of healing from. So I just pray over all you that if you have some situation in your life that you need healing from, we just pray that God will heal you, heal your heart, your mind, your body, your spirit, in Jesus' name.
Amen. Yeah, and I'd have to say, based on what you were saying about our thinking, I'm always there, or God's always there reminding me when I have bad thoughts or I've made horrible decisions in my life or bad decisions. God's always sending me back to His Word so that I can go back to something that is grounded, that's been around for thousands of years, that He's given us as a gift. And that's His Word. That's the Old Testament and the New Testament. And I just think that when I go back to that, it really, really grounds me and helps me. And I would say, what Ken and Stefan both said, I mean, we want to make a contribution. It's like, I'm getting older. I'm 58 years old, and I'm making a podcast for the first time. I'm excited about that. Yeah, I know.
How do you even walk around?
Take me back.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, these guys haven't told you their age yet, so I feel pretty content. But so as we go through these things in life, I mean, we want to make a contribution. I think everybody out there has something positive that they can do with their life, as down as you are, and as many things that we're going to tell you that we've gone through and that God has helped us rise above it. We're excited to share those things and tell you about the positive outcome. And we all know that your life is purpose, that everything that you do in the future God has a plan for it and a purpose, and has put you on this planet at this specific time, at this specific time frame, to make a contribution. And that's why I'm here. I want to leave some sort of legacy, not only for my children, my wife, and my family and my friends, but I want to leave something positive as a contribution to many. And every single person on the face of the planet can do that. You don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to just arrive, by your a position, a high prized position within some huge corporation. We've all worked for corporations. That's not it. It's just what can you contribute out of love, out of consciousness to make, all those decisions of doing the right thing and encouraging people to do the right thing.
I think it's so right. I read somewhere, when you meet people today, you have no idea where they're coming from, what they're going through, what's happening in their life. So be kind. Be kind to everybody. And we talked about God's will of our lives. We know the general will of God in our life, all of us. We know it. We just don't know the very specifics. But we know that we'd like to follow him, and as an overall will of our life is that we live righteous lives and love people.
That's really good.
Yeah, and I'd like to say something. We all have testimonies of what God has done in our lives, and we'd love to share those another time and kind of let you see how God has worked through us. And I just think that would be great. We've been friends for quite a while, and we know a lot about each other. And
Too much.
Back and do this over. Would you do it?
No.
Would you do it, Ken?
Absolutely
Would you push
not.
the button?
No.
Would you push the button? Just what if you had a glimmer of something else that could, entice you? Just a little bit of hope of something different, maybe.
No, I wouldn't.
A different
actually.
outcome.
No.
What about
For
you?
me.
No, I don't think I would. But what I will do is acknowledge the mistakes I made and forgive myself for them.
Oh, absolutely.
And move forward. And
So why wouldn't you push the button?
because
much
that's a lot of work. Yeah, that's a lot
See,
of work.
I knew it. I knew
going
it.
back to
I knew it.
13, going back to 13 and starting over, and
It's like, really?
hello,
Yeah.
it's New Year.
But you could start your life back over. I mean, you get to go through a lot of this stuff.
You mean
got
in a
longer
different
life.
portal or dimension?
Well, no, same dimension.
Yeah,
Same portal.
a lot of work. But if I would hope I would do some things differently.
It's so awesome that you guys went first on that question, because when I think about my life and then hearing that, it's like as soon as he said, I don't think I would do that, I could tell by his life experience. Life is painful, and there's a lot of things that you have to go through in life, and all that you guys are going through out there in this crazy world that we live in, we're kind of shipwrecked here, right? I mean, we're shipwrecked, and it's like we're all leaving this planet, but how? How are we leaving this planet? But we're all shipwrecked here. And so I have to go with these two guys seeing their wisdom. Not that they're influencing me, but I would have to say the reason I wouldn't push the button would be the same reason. It's like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
That's a
no
lot
kidding.
of work. Don't you think, you guys? I mean,
No kidding.
Yeah, and we want to ask you, what do you guys think? What would you do with that situation?
that's a good point,
Yeah,
Ken.
just write in the comments
Yes.
what you think about all this, and
Would
it's
you push
neither
the
right
button,
or wrong, right? But it seems to me like I've been swimming upstream for a long time. I don't think I want to go back.
Yeah.
So if you agree or disagree, I mean, we're fine with either way. We just want to have this conversation between us, and it be okay. And in the end, we're still friends, and like us, and we like you.
The Renewed Dudes, every Friday night at 6 p.m. See you there.